Good afternoon. Welcome to the next series of our weekly training classes. Today we're going to talk about the Formosan subterranean termite, the identification and treatment. Formosan termites were introduced to Florida back in the 1980s. Here in Orlando, they started in 32803 at downtown Orlando. We had our first case of termites, Formosan termites, downtown in a lawyer's office that we used to do. And through all that, the Formosan termite is a much destructive termite. We have pictures in the office that will show you termite damage in exit holes. This termite has been called a super termite. It's large in size of colonies and has the ability to consume wood at a rapid rate. Next slide. Formosan termites infest a wide variety of structures to include trees, homes, even high-rise condos. A mature Formosan colony can consume as much as 13 ounces of wood a day and can severely damage a structure in about 3 months. Formosan termites are a social insect that builds its colonies either above or below the ground. The queen of these colonies have a wingspan of about 15 years and the capability of producing up to 2,000 eggs per day. The diet of a subterranean termite consists of anything that contains wood fibers. One of the things that a termite does is they build what they call carton nest that are built in the walls. If you get in that situation, you're going to have to, treatment-wise, it'll be totally different of a treatment. So it's very important that we identify what we need to, so we know how we're going to treat it. The Formosan termite has the greatest impact of North America. It is currently one of the most destructive pests in the United States. The estimated cost to consumers is over $1 billion annually for prevent and remedy treatment, along with repairing damage caused by one insect. A single colony of Formosan termites may contain several million termites and can forage up to 300 yards in the soil. The colonies contain 3 primary castes: kings and queens, soldiers, and workers. All are identified by wings and bodies, size as follows. Formosan termite, and a difference between a Formosan termite and a drywood termite is the identification. You have to make sure that you know what kind of termite it is, because most times they are very identical. And a lot of times the naked eye will not help you identify. On the Formosan wings, there are little hairs on the wings, and usually you would need a microscope to identify it. Their swarms are much different. The Formosan swarms are massive. If you went to a house and went to and looked at a step, you might see massive swarmers, and more likely it's the Formosan termite. This is a really nice graph that I drawn, but this is how we're going to have to look for and identify where we have to, when we do our inspections. It's very important that during our inspections, we check everything. You want to check trees, you want to check old fences, you want to check, now when I say check trees, a lot of times you can go out to a tree and you can find mud tubes going up a tree. You break open the mud tube and then you'll see them. A lot of times too, when you're doing an inspection, customer will tell you that they saw swarming at night. And that's when most of the Formosans swarm. But you need to check all areas, you know, every place, under wood, laying on the ground, the old wood fence as notated. So your inspections have to be right smack on, especially for Formosans. If you're ever in doubt about something, use the graph to write notes. So when you bring it back in, then we could discuss it so we know what we need to do to solve the problems for the customer. Okay, the ProStaff Premier treatment for Formosan termites. It is essential that, like I said, we have to make sure that we identify the type of termite, so we make sure we do the right treatment. But when we're treating for Formosans, okay, we are going to do what they call a full drill out on floating slabs. That's when you drill the house every 8 inches, down drill it every 12 inches, and put out 1 gallon per 10 feet, 1 gallon, 4 gallons per 10 feet on both sides. Sorry. But also you're going to have to pop the voids. So when you're treating, you're treating 3 different sections: the underneath the house, in the slab, and then around the outside of the house. On crawls, you're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to drill it from the inside, popping all the voids, treating the perimeter of the crawl, and also any supporting piers. Then what I want you to do, then what we'll do is we're going to do an outside treatment also. Basically, this will be the equivalent of a full drill out as a floating slab. And then we must cut all bath traps. We need to cut them because, again, Formosans can come up from anywhere. They can travel through the plumbing pipes. And so it's going to be important that we cut those bath traps so we can make sure we're treating them, doing a good inspection. As I said before, our inspections are the key to how we're going to treat them, how we're going to solve the problem. And so we're going to, if anybody has any questions on any of the anything we're talking about, please ask me.
So Ken, I've got a question for you, and if you could think of some questions that some of our people could ask regarding this, please do that. But the question that came to mind was the graphic you showed. How can our technicians use that as a major competitive advantage against the other folks out there like Huron, Massey, and so forth? How can we use it to better position ourselves to actually sell this particular treatment?
Well, the graph itself, no matter if you're just treating for regular subterranean termites or ants, roaches, or spiders, the graph is the key to telling the customer what's going on around your property. They are, we want to use our colored pens because we want to make sure that the customer understands what we're inspecting, and also we're trying to let them know what is going around the house as far as termites or any other insect. So the graph is the key to your sale. So if you have a good graph, the sale will be much easier to make.
So then in cases where we want to know what the property looks like in advance, oftentimes the office staff will do it, but what's the easiest way, if I don't have time to go to the office, what's the easiest way to get that graph, and then what should I do to prepare for that appointment with the graph?
Well, we can pull up all the addresses on the property appraiser, but we do not want to use that graph that you would get. We want you to put the graph on graph paper. We want it made to scale so we can, when we go out the house, we have an exact picture of the house itself so we know what we're up against.
In your experience, what has been the reception when you've actually used this graph? I mean, have there been extraordinary situations with customers or potential customers when you've presented the graph the way you're illustrating right now?
Well, like I said, being that I've done this for a while, the graph has always been the most important part. It's impressive to the customer that you took the time to do your inspection, notate anything that you saw. And a lot of times too, like if you're doing a crawl and underneath there, and if you see a water leak or insulation falling down up in there, you can put that on your graph and let the customer know that they got a problem underneath there. So it's important that you document everything on that graph that you can to help you make the sale, and also let the customer know what's going on around their house besides the insects.
So so most of our clients and longtime customers are pest control clients, correct?
Right.
Okay, so when we're talking about potential upsell, and I've got this graph, what is the probability, just in your experience when you've done it, of a upsell where you would get paid on that sale?
Well, if you go to a pest control quarterly service, and you have your graph with you, outside, you would want to, while you're doing that service, you would want to notate on the graph anything that you see, knowing that if the customer doesn't have a termite protection, then while you're out doing your quarterly, then you can notate all this. And then once you're done, you can go up to the house with an educated conclusion of what's going on to present the customer and say, this is what's going on around your house. You found termites in this area. It doesn't matter if they're on the house or not. You want to, that's what I'm talking about. You want to look at everything. So when you go up there, you could tell them, I found termites 3 feet from your house. You want to mark that. Anything that you can find, you want to document it on that graph.
So there's great benefits there for our customers. They're going to get better peace of mind because they're going to have a more comprehensive service when our people go there. So let's speak to, well, what's in it for the tech at the end of the day? They're serving their customers, but also we recently, Pro Staff recently changed the commission structure for cross-selling existing clients. What does that mean on a typical termite sale if I'm going to upsell, as far as dollars in the pocket of the technician?
Well, termite sales are probably your biggest ticket item in our industry. So when you go out there and try to sell termite, if you sell it, you're going to maybe work it, And it's rewarding by the end of the day because you know you made $500, $600, $700 on that sale.
Okay, so if I'm looking at, as I recall, our cross-sell commission ranges from 18 to 21% if I remember properly. So what you're saying is if we have a typical, let's just look at a typical termite sale, what would be the revenue to the firm for that one sale?
I would, about $1,500.
So 18 to 21% of that would be what the commission is. It seems
Right.
like a really quick way to make a significant impact for the customer, one, but two, also to the individual technician's pocketbook, huh?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's every day you go out on a sale on our services, you need to be prepared for any little thing because right now termites are swarming. You've got to have that graph. You got to be looking because they're there. And 90% of the time, you'll find reasons for them to buy termite. And then it's what it all boils down to is you've got to do a good inspection, take your time, look at every little thing that you can to give that to the customer to get them aware of what is going on.
Okay, so I'm new to the business and we're going to be adding many new technicians over the course of the next year or two. Do I really need to know all the answers when I go to an existing client of the company? Do I need to know the answers, or will this approach just give a way for me to position all the solutions?
Well, during when you come on the board on pro staff, you're going to be trained. But being that I've been doing this for 27 years, there's always something new going to happen every day. So what we try to accomplish here is if you run into a situation you're not sure of, then you just call one of the management team and they'll be happy to walk you through it. You can take pictures of the situation and send it to the manager. Or if that's not what we think needs to be done, we can reset the appointment for us to go back together. So it's, you'll never know everything.
So then if we were to summarize the three most important takeaways from what you shared with us today, before we close off, what would those be?
Well, again, I think number one is identification. That is the key to what you're doing. Not to get off a little track, but right now carpenter ants are swarming too. So again, they're swarming. Customers will call in and say, "Oh no, I got a termite swarm." Well, you get out there and you have to look at it, and you'll say, "No, it's just carpenter ants." You got to make sure you identify. Again, identification is the key. Then your graph. That tells the story. That no matter what happens, that tells the story. And like I said, pro staff, we are the management team, office staff, whatever, is always here to help you or anybody else in the company. And if we need to, like I said, go out with you, we're happy to go out and get you the right answers. Well, I hope this information is good for you guys. And again, if you have any questions or concerns or problems out there, or if you're not sure on something, please give me a call. I won't answer my phone, but go ahead and give me a call, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.